In Xbox Game Pass's latest Day 1 title, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre victims seek to flee the Slaughter family compound lest one comes face to face with Leatherface. But before we get into it, I want to give a quick mention to my buddies over at CalderaLab.com, makers of the finest skincare for men. Check out their entire line to not look like Leatherface and use my promo code FRY15 to save 15%. Based on the 1974 movie of the same name, which itself is a victim of an unfortunate title. Way ahead of its time with gritty horror using innovative ambiance instead of dated early 70s score. Sudden, matter-of-fact violence culminating in an exciting chase. But seriously, if Jaws were titled Shark Attack, it would be dismissed by snobs too. The game does a good job recreating the Slaughter family compound and various scenes from the film, though some are far more elaborate and maze-like, with your opening area, the basement, being introduced in Part 2. It's no surprise that Gun Interactive nailed the setting. They did so in the Friday the 13th game. And like that game, your cast of victim survivors have various attributes and perks, which can be leveled up, allowing them advantages to strike back or identify objects in their ultimate goal to flee the area. Hunting them is the family, and you'll recognize several of them from that first film, such as Leatherface, Cook, the Hitchhiker, and even Grandpa, who have their own unique abilities to track down victims and slaughter them. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a bit of a spin on the asymmetric player versus player horror genre. It's not just one powerful player hunting down the others, it's a team of 3. And in early stages, it can seem overwhelming. It took me over 6 hours to finally escape the family. In fact, and I'm not making this up, I had to find a black couple on Xbox Live to show me how to think black. See, I was doing too much of a whitey thing, sneak attacking the family and opening doors for others, when I should have just prioritized getting the heck out of Dodge. But I would say that even as victims level up, it remains fairly one-sided, in part because the family is as invulnerable as the killers in Dead by Daylight, when in fact in their source inspiration, they're entirely mortal. At the very least, players should be able to kill Grandpa, because stabbing Grandpa doesn't quite have the effect it should. When the family feeds Grandpa blood, his moans act as a sonar locator of victims. Now sure, victims can shiv him to reduce the rank of his sonar, but that payoff is never worth the risk, and easily negated by feeding him more blood. Come on, he's an NPC, let him die. That way the Slaughter family would have to weigh protecting Grandpa or going after the victims. This title also launched without cross-gen multiplayer support, meaning that if your friend has an Xbox One and you have an Xbox Series X, you're not playing together. And to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if this is something that can be easily remedied, outside of your friend's parents finally manning up and getting Jimmy an Xbox Series X. My first game instant death aside, because it loaded me straight into a match with a friend, not alerting me that I need to invert my sticks, I have had a blast this past weekend playing as both victims and family. You can look at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as the sequel with many improvements to the Friday the 13th game, though it plays more like Dead by Daylight, and those familiar with that game have quickly become experts. But if you're new to the genre, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre can be overwhelming, with no rhyme or reason to objects and the respective exits they open, which can even be closed back off by the family. Now consider this, in the Friday the 13th game, if you call the cops, Jason doesn't get on the phone and be like, "Oh sorry, that was a prank call, you don't have to show up." I think that the deck is stacked against the victims, but if you disagree, let me know in the comments below. I give the Texas Chainsaw Massacre an 8.3 out of 10.
If you appreciate a YouTube channel that doesn't just pad out content to get to the 8-minute mark so that it can hammer you with ad breaks, then you should subscribe to my son's channel. You just got done watching it.